My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
We acknowledge the traditional owners of country throughout Australia and recognise their continuing connection to land, waters and culture. We pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. Welcome to This Song Is Yours, a music podcast where we chat to a new guest each week, talk about their life and creative endeavours and talk to them about some of the music they love. Our show works by chatting to our guests about music, but also getting them to make you a playlist of the songs they love. You can find the link to our playlist in the show notes. Welcome to episode 34. I'm your host, Simon Fink. Our guest today is singer-songwriter LT. She's a multi-award-winning musician from Queensland, Australia, and has recently released her new single, Hold Ya. In today's episode, we talk about the reception of the new single, anxiety when performing, and the imbalance of Australian music on radio. Here we go. Our guest today is a singer-songwriter who was recently placed as a semi-finalist in the International Songwriting Competition and has previously played with acts such as Bernard Fanning. Please welcome to This Song Is Yours, LT. Hello.
Hello.
How are you going today?
I'm going really well, actually. It's been a good week.
That's good. Musically or just professionally or just a good week?
Just a good week, I think, where everything feels balanced, like all the little parts of my life. It's never that way. There's always something that's not right. But this week seems to be everything's going pretty smoothly, so it's a nice feeling.
That's always good. Those weeks are the good weeks, yeah. The new single Hold Ya is out now and has come hot on the heels, I would say, for most artists of your most recent record, which was only out last year. What is Hold Ya about?
So Hold Ya was written in the middle of the pandemic, well, the start of it really, when everyone was being forced into lockdown. And I think during that time it made me realise, and I think everyone really realised, how much pressure that puts on relationships and the strain that it puts on them, whether they be romantic or otherwise. And some of the personal experiences I was going through was just, large strain on my relationship, and with the changes that you had to go through with losing jobs and extra pressures being put on the other person and kids and all that type of thing. It was something that we've never experienced before. So the song kind of came out unexpectedly, and it was about being in a relationship where the two people love each other dearly, but they're struggling. And so both of them, even though they are struggling, they both really still want to stick it out and stay there. So that's kind of what it's about, is even though the lyrics are about, I guess the pressure of a relationship, it's filled with hope, and it was a good result in the end. So, I think it's quite normal for a relationship to go through ups and downs like that. But if you both want to stick it out, then it's worthwhile sticking around.
Of course. Excuse me, 100% agree with that. Did you find yourself during COVID, as you mentioned, kind of everyone's locked down, everyone's kind of pushed inside for a little bit. Did you find yourself immediately picking up the guitar or piano or instrument of choice when finding yourself at that time? Or we've spoken to some people found that they immediately were able to be creative, and some people found it very difficult to kind of force that to come?
Yeah, I think I'm the latter. My life was about to get really, really busy with touring, and touring isn't something that I necessarily I love performing live, but touring can be really quite anxiety inducing, and I do struggle from anxiety. So life was about to get quite crazy for me. So when it happened and I was forced to take a break and do other things because I couldn't tour, I really enjoyed that, and I really enjoyed just doing mundane things around the house and gardening and cleaning rooms out and all that kind of stuff. So I found it quite hard to have the motivation to be creative and start writing a bunch of songs, especially since I just put out a record that I was about to tour. Yeah. My head wasn't in that space. So I didn't use that time to write like lots of other people I know did, but definitely some things came out like Hold Ya, because they just do.
Do you think that we can expect possibly some more music or even another record before the end of 2021?
Yes, there is. Sorry, my cat has just walked into the room.
That's okay.
There is more music to come out. So I did spend a little bit of that time being creative, and then I think always with me when I start writing, it flows and just other things come out. So the plan is to release much more music as the year goes on, but just kind of trying to gauge what's happening with live shows and where things are at there before making any solid concrete plans.
That's very fair. I think that's a smart choice. As you just said, the song Hold Ya came from quite a personal place for yourself in like a situation. When you are sitting down to write music, do you find that you'll kind of have like an idea or a catalyst for a song first and then work the music around that, or does a melody kind of come first and then you'll do it the other way?
Yeah, melody always with me. I'll pick up the guitar and have a little melody line. I don't sing words. I just make kind of mouth sounds, and then when something sticks that I really like, I'll try and find words to kind of fit into the way that my mouth is shaped, whether it's like O's or R's, and then the words get shaped around that and it becomes a song about something. But generally lyrics are last for me, and probably my weak point is my lyricism.
I have seen I think it was a quote by Zan Rowe who said that you are very good at I'm forgetting the exact quote, but it was in terms of fitting words around melodies and like in how you kind of shape them. So I think, obviously you do know your strengths and other people can recognize that as well, which is a good thing.
Yeah, I know that the little quote that you mean is that I love Zan Rose. So yeah, something about the way my mouth sounds vowels or something like that. But
that was it,
yeah.
I know that you said that a little bit of anxiety with shows, and I know that you have some coming up soon in terms of I think you've got a few support slots this weekend, and then there's the Sunshine Sounds Festival at the start of May. For yourself, how do you, and we'll get to those shows in a second, how do you deal with that anxiety of performing? Because sometimes you can be the best singer, best guitarist, but sometimes that anxiety can, speaking from experience, it is sometimes difficult to grapple with. How do you prepare, or how do you kind of deal with that?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the problem about anxiety, is it often makes no sense at all. And I find, I get anxiety in lots of different situations, but I think in terms of performance, the more rehearsed and prepared I am, the much better I feel. So that if I do start getting a bit of a panic attack, or my head starts kind of spinning and I can't get out of it, I know that I'm able to kind of at least go on autopilot and get through whatever it is and then come out the other side. But if I'm going into something unrehearsed and unprepared, and being prepared isn't necessarily I give a lot of thought to my set lists and the order of that, and whether I'm picking up this guitar or that guitar, like a little bit over the top, but at least I know there's kind of like less room for error, and just make sure that I pack days in advance. I start packing my stuff and making lots of lists, which I've been told isn't the best thing to do, because then you just keep adding to your list and you make a bigger list, and then you're anxious about the fact that you've got all these things to do. But it does help me feel like, okay, I'm prepared, and whatever happens from here is just bad luck. And that makes me feel a little bit better.
I 100% agree with that. I think I'm of the same school of thought. I'd rather have a bag with 20 items and I use one of them than need the other 19 and not have them. So, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Hold Ya was recently picked by Rolling Stone Australia as a song you need to know. What was it like, I guess, getting that email or that notification that they've picked your song as this? Because it's a big publication, Rolling Stone. What was that kind of feeling like?
Oh, it was amazing. I've grown up reading Rolling Stone articles, and both online and in print. So for them to want to.
This summer, Instacart presents famous summer flavors coming to your front door. Or pool. Or hotel.
Your grocery delivery has arrived, sir.
That was faster than room service.
No violins in the lobby.
Oh, seriously? Anyway, sit back, relax, and get delivery in as fast as 30 minutes. Starring your favorite snacks, drinks, and more. Download Instacart for free delivery on your first 3 orders. Rated H for hungry audiences. Offer valid for a limited time. Minimum $10 per order. Excludes restaurants. Additional terms and fees apply.
My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
Support that music video and the song was like a big pinch me moment, and it was so exciting when I got the call to say that they wanted it to happen, and really, really great as well, because the two women that made the film clip, they put in so much work. They went above and beyond, and they worked so many hours to just get it right. And so for something like Rolling Stone to come about, it made me feel really good that they are both getting the exposure that they deserve as well for their work. So, yeah, it was definitely a career highlight, Rolling Stone.
Definitely one for the resume, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you tell us more about the video? I know that it is set at a roller rink, but yeah, you're able just to give us a little bit more information on the video?
Yeah, so Chelsea Johnson, whose idea it was to have it at the Cairns roller skating rink, she went and visited the location, and inside it's just full 80s aesthetics. They haven't, made many changes, which is great because my memories of skating are from the 80s, and she just had this idea of filming lots of people skating, but moments of connection amongst two people. And I put a call out on Facebook and got tons of replies, which I didn't think I would. And the general vibe on the night was walking around and hearing just lots of laughter and lots of people reminiscing about their skating stories from when they were kids, and other stories for when they were a little bit older. And it was just a really, really beautiful evening for everybody. So, yeah, I think the Cairns roller skating rink really worked, and there were a few stacks at the end of the night when everyone was getting a little bit tired. But, yeah, it was great, the community coming together and all having a bit of fun. It was, so grateful for that.
That's nice. I feel like and I know that you've already given the inspiration for the song. I felt that there was maybe like a second or third layer of it where it is like about support and almost community in that way. And so I thought the video complemented the song very well.
Yeah, they did an amazing job, Chelsea and Annie, who did the animation as well. So, yeah, very talented crew.
The song is also nominated at next month's Queensland Music Awards, which I believe you're nominated in the Blues and Roots category, but have also been you've won a few times before. You're a 3-time winner. What are you feeling your chances are like this time around?
To be honest, probably a little slim, I think, but just in saying that is because I have walked away with winning a couple of times before. So, but it's never about that anyway, and it's just going down to the QMAs because I'm up in Cairns. It's a really great opportunity, I find, to be able to see your peers and connect with other people that you wouldn't have the opportunity to otherwise. And the general feeling in the room is it just feels like a big work Christmas party, end of year party, you know, and everyone gets to listen to music and celebrate music, you know, celebrate Queensland music. So I'm really excited to go, and, you know, whatever happens, but it's an honour to be chosen amongst the other talented artists that are up for the same award.
When having a look and seeing, I guess, who else was nominated this year, there was some bands that I realised were from Queensland, but I didn't. I was surprised at some as well, just the pure talent that is coming out of Queensland at the moment. Yeah, it's incredible. There's a lot of talent in Queensland. There's a lot of talent in Australia, you know. The Australian music scene's insane. It's just, you just don't hear it on the radio as much as you should. Which is very much agreed with. We were talking about this previously with another artist as well, in terms of whether we should still be meeting those quotas for Australian music and having more. I feel like the smaller, more independent stations or the more country stations are playing more local, but whether these bigger radio stations should be, meeting their quota of Australian music.
Yes, absolutely, and that's a whole nother conversation. But it's not good enough. What's happening, I think, in terms of commercial radio. You know, other countries around the world, it's the quota is much, much larger. And some radio stations around the world, it's really, really hard to get played on unless you are from that area. So, you know, it comes back to as an emerging artist, you know, if you're a teenager writing songs and you're looking up to and aspiring to other mid-level or emerging musicians, you can't be what you can't see. And if you're listening to radio all the time and it's not achievable because it's, you know, Kylie Minogue, which is she's amazing, but, you know, she's big time. There needs to be more balance in some emerging grassroots acts that are being showcased. And, yeah, I don't know why it's not happening, because it's out there. It's really, you know, there's a lot of talent in this country. And then with the support, if that support's offered, it's, you know, paves a pathway for a career for an Australian musician instead of it being so damn hard all the time.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I feel that while Triple J does a substantial amount of work in terms of getting Australian music heard, there's only so much music that can be put through Triple J or that can applied to Triple J listeners. It's very while they're, again, so not attacking them, but it is like the scope of genres, I guess, is limited with that, whereas we could be doing it with a lot more Australian artists as well. Exactly.
You know, I mean, you look at, there's radio in the UK and it plays so many different genres of music, so many, and people love it. People love hearing different types of music, you know, and as you said, you know, like nothing against Triple J, but they can only do so much. They're only, you know, they only have a certain amount of hours in the day and that you can only play a certain amount of artists. So if there needs to be more stations like Triple J, and it's, you know, luckily in this country we you know, we've got community radio, which is amazing support for indie artists. But it would be good if we had some of the bigger hitters really pulling their weight on that as well. Definitely.
The other thing that I wanted to ask you today, LT, we usually chat to our guests about what they're currently listening to. Is there any album or any kind of music in the last few months that has caught your attention that you've got on repeat?
not so much any brand new artists that I have stumbled across, but I am still listening to a lot of Jack River, who I discovered 2-3 years ago and love. I've always got on my record player my Neil Young Decade album, which I love, and I play it all the time.
Great.
Yeah, but there's an artist, a Queensland artist that I met through the Carol Lloyd Awards a number of years ago, and her artist's name is Morton, and she's from the Moreton Bay Shire, and her actual name is Georgia Potter, and she's doing some incredible stuff. We've become friends since then, but I've loved following her journey, so I've been listening to a lot of her stuff lately. She's doing big things overseas because her sound is a different sound. It's out of the box. It's not necessarily something that would be supported all the time by commercial radio, but she seems to be doing really, really well in the UK. Real soundscapey, dreamy type of stuff. So, yeah, can't get enough of Morton at the moment. So if anyone's listening, go check her out.
I can definitely make sure we include her artist details in the show notes as well for the podcast. How often do you find yourself at because I guess there's so many avenues these days. There is the radio, there's Spotify, there's algorithms out the wazoo to suggest new music. How often, as you said that you found her at an event, at a festival, how often do you find yourself listening at festivals to other artists and kind of being able to soak up and find new bands that you like?
All the time when I go to festivals. That's my favourite thing about going to festivals is discovering new bands. You know, it always happens. There's generally a band that you'll hear that you're seeing or you're not paying attention to, but you hear it off in the distance and you're like, oh, God, who's that? You know? It's my favourite thing. So I am looking forward to this festival I've got coming up in Mundy in a couple of weeks and getting to hear some acts that I haven't heard before, but finally get to hear some acts that I've heard of but not ever seen. I think I discover music a lot more that way at festivals than listening to radio and things like that.
Yeah, I think that's very fair. As you mentioned, you are playing the Sunshine Sounds Festival at the start of May, and I'll make sure that we include those details in the show notes for anyone who wants to go along. LT, thank you very much for your time today. I do appreciate it, and thank you for being on the podcast.
Thank you very much. It's been lovely having a chat with you, and hope to talk to you again soon.
And that's our show. Thank you again to LT. Her latest single, Hold Ya, is out now. We've included links in the show notes to the single and to Sunshine Sounds Festival as well if you'd like to go along. We also want to give a quick shout out to Emily at On The Map PR for helping out with today's interview. You can find a link to our Spotify playlist in the show notes, where we'll be able to listen to all of our guests' picks. If you like this show, please subscribe wherever you get your pods and stay up to date when new episodes are released. We release new shows each Thursday and Friday morning with guest playlists streaming on Spotify at the same time. You can follow the playlist profile on Spotify, and you can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Until next week, cheers.
When you drive a vehicle so reliable it's backed by a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty, you stop thinking about what you can't do and start doing what you never thought possible. Visit your local Kia dealer today to see what you're capable of in a vehicle that inspires confidence around every corner. Kia, movement that inspires.
Call 800-333-4KIA for details. Always drive safely. Limited inventory available. Warranties include 10-year 100,000-mile powertrain and 5-year 60,000-mile basic. Warranties are limited. See retailer for details.